Yeah, just getting ready here. Pardon me. I'm getting ready for the review. I'm so excited that you're all here. Don't mind this part. So today I am going to talk about a book that I'm very excited about. It's called Yes Attitude. The Little Gold Book of Yes Attitude. Now, this is about harnessing a good attitude to find, build, and keep a yes attitude for a lifetime of success. So this book was written by Jeffrey Gitomer, okay? And I heard of him from my employer, actually. I'm in a sales role. And Jeffrey Gitomer wrote a book called The Little Red Book of Sales. Now, someone in HR told me, like, hey, a lot of the top sales reps, they read that book, and amongst some others, and they've seen some good success. So I thought, hey, the smart thing to do would be to pay attention to that and definitely get that book. So I really loved the Little Red Book. And in his books, he lists all these other books that he does. Anyway, yeah, he writes a lot. And so I thought, hey, yes attitude, that sounds good. So that was like a year and a half ago that I read the Little Red Book of Sales. But I thought now's a good time for the yes attitude. So we are in a context right now of a lot of doubt, a lot of uncertainty. And we definitely know how to find the news and what's in the news. And it is important to stay informed. That being said, it's also very important to harness a positive attitude to really piggyback off of the positivity that you already got going in your life, and that's kind of where I'm coming from. So I just am going to bust out my notes here, don't mind this board, and I'm going to go over some of the things that stand out to me about this book. And then, maybe if you want to follow up and read it, cool. If not, I'm glad to impart these things about this book to you. So, I have a sense that people watching this now, you might be split again amongst like those who are open-minded to read something like this and those who are skeptical. That's okay. This book is really for people that are open to self-help and sort of business development tools. And so I would suggest for folks on that spectrum to check this out if you're already there. I read in a book, a different self-help book. I don't even remember who it was, but I remember the message. This self-help book said, hey, I was like in high school or something, and it said, be sure to say yes to life. Make life something that you say yes to more than no. And that really resonated with me. Like wherever I was at, mind space wise, I needed to hear that. So I thought, okay, let me adopt that. And then when I hear from Jeffrey Gitomer, when I'm really reading his Little Red Book of, sales tactics and everything, I was just like, hey, if he's writing about yes attitude, that resonates with what I've learned in the past about saying yes to life. And, if you know me, maybe that is something that you could see coming out in how I walk through the world. And so anyway, there's that. So I was already attracted to the book just because of the title, is basically what I'm saying there. This book, it really talks about nurturing positivity. And it breaks down the amount of time and effort that actually takes if you're taking this seriously, the adoption of a positive attitude. And I just didn't realize how much that actually necessitates. There's a self-test in here where, you can, not exactly sure where it is, but it's like somewhere sort of early in the book, where you get to grade yourself. Yeah, how positive is your attitude? I turned right to it. You grade yourself based on a couple questions and the numerical value of your answer about how positive you really are. I was surprised to see that I was actually coming up kind of short. I was expecting to score highly on the spectrum according to this book, according to Jeffrey, right? And I was surprised to see that I was on the lower half. So that just let me know that I have a lot of opportunity to grow, and that motivated me. So I read on. I didn't put it down. This guy is coming from a place of having studied positivity and throwing himself into it, dedicating years of his life within his career too, because this person is also like a sales trainer and author and speaker. So he has a lot of credibility in that he has studied this in his early adult years with other people. He didn't do it in isolation. He did it with a community, and I thought that that was really cool. So I was inspired by that too. And let's see, the voice of this book is very like pro positivity. Obviously, that's what the book's about. But he's like a lot of the other books that I've read recently that I've shared on here, just a straight shooter. He's kind of like, come on, what's wrong with you? Just be positive. Like he's great. He's got a sense of humor, which I love. And it's definitely like his sense of humor, but I just love that he brings his humor into his voice. You know, it's not academic, it's very accessible. And I love that he has lists of just tips and like daily quotes that you can like mull over in your mind and take into your day. And he's definitely, that's one of the takeaways of the book too, is to commit yourself to ingesting some kind of quote, some kind of mantra, wherever you want to get it from, but it has to build you up and assume the position of, hey, I am the greatest at what I do. No one else is like me, you know, and I can already hear it. There may be some skepticism about that. I really encourage melting down any walls that come up right now as you're hearing me talk about the daring into one's daring into stepping into the idea that you're great, that you are the greatest. Like that is verbatim what he suggests doing. And I've never given myself permission really to do that. So and this is just to know moving forward, like any book that I share, it's because I'm trying to address something like in my life, right? And so anything that I get fuel from, I definitely want to share that, because everyone that's watching is on a different path. But if there's something from my little tool bag that I'm filling up with additional tools, if there's anything in here you can use it, take it. So there's just, okay, I'm pausing because there's just so much that's coming to my mind right now. So again, just to drive home, not to underestimate the amount of intention, practice, and energy that actually goes into building, I guess, attitude. And just to be clear, and I love that he acknowledges this, he's like, no, I'm not saying pretend like everything's perfect. No, I'm not saying that you must be happy all the time, but really weigh out, to kind of circle back with that, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, that other book that I reviewed. Weigh out what you're giving a fuck about. If there's a shortcoming, if there's a negative thing that happened, right? Or some kind of failure of some sort, quote unquote, then how many fucks do we give, right, to this failure versus the ability to move forward, to move on, to continue on, and to focus on the solutions. Like I'm a very solution-oriented, action-oriented person. So that really resonated with me. He's sort of like, again, the straight shooter voice. He's kind of like, hey, shake it off, move on. Some people, when they're reading these kind of books, they want a little bit more hand-holding. I've definitely been on that vibe too. But there's something about his like very knowing kick in the pants that I found refreshing. And here's one of my favorite quotes, okay? If 100% of your success if we can all agree, right, that 100% of our success is tied to our attitude, and when listening, communicating, serving customers or clients, right, or family members, partners, whatever, right? I like to universalize what everyone says. So in serving people in our world and doing our job, then how come we've never taken a course in it? Never taken a course in good attitude? Like, courses like this are important. And I didn't realize that such things like really existed. Things that are focusing on positivity and nurturing that, harnessing that power within ourselves. But now that I think about it, I guess like conferences, and I go to those things, are for that. And just to put a plug in for that, gathering with like-minded people and people with similar ambitions really is important, because we need to be able to build ourselves up and build more yeses in our mind than no's. I think that's what it really comes down to. So that was the thing, and he said it early in the book. Like, hey, if we can all agree that our attitude is everything, then why wouldn't we dedicate time and energy into developing a good one? And it is definitely like a muscle. So I'm a naturally blessed, positive person, and I'm so grateful for that. And I see I'm no longer taking for granted, number one, that I have a lot of that in a natural sort of like savings account within me, right? Like I have a bank that's full, but it's up to me to maintain it and to pay attention to it and to keep it full and to keep it growing. So anyway, this was Jeffrey Gitomer's little gold book of Yes Attitude. Take what you like, leave the rest. And if you ever get a chance to check out this book, if you want to check it out on Audible, since maybe we're not ordering physical books right now, then by all means, I recommend it. Love y'all and have a enjoyable day.